everyone, Crafting Vicky here with you, and I want to wish you all a very happy new year. Hope that 2018 brings lots of health and that you guys are gonna have plenty of chance to craft and just have fun and enjoy your life to the best possibilities. So that's my wish to you. We're here to do some crafting for cards, and I thought today I would do it differently because, well, after the holidays we're all a bit more tight, and I also know that not everybody has access to a lot of supplies, and I get a lot of comments of, oh, I wish we had access to this, we don't, or money's tight and I can't get that sort of thing. So I figured let's do something with stuff that we have around the house and that's readily available. So I pulled out a bunch of magazine pages, and these are like from any magazine. These are ads, and this is a air coloring ad. I don't know from which magazine it is, but I think it was from a freebie. And then this is a swatch for nail polish, I believe, and this is another page from a magazine, which I thought the background was fun. So I've got that. We're gonna be making cards first. I went through and I was wondering, you know, what do I have that could be used and would be interesting, and doilies are readily available. I think everybody can have access to some at dollar stores or such, and they can be a fun embellishment. So I pulled those out, and I was thinking of buttons as well. I don't know where I put my buttons. Anyway, book pages. I pulled these out so that I would have some measurements. Sticky notepads. These I got at the dollar store, not a dollar store, at a thrift store, in one of those bins of stuff that I purchased. And I'm just trying to get to some buttons. So I'm gonna pull out, got some green ones, some purple ones, and some pink ones, and those all come from the dollar store as well. But if you don't have some, sorry, I'm gonna blow my nose. You can also find some on clothing, on old clothing that you have that is good for destruction, or you could buy a shirt that's at a thrift store for very cheap, that you could use, that has fun buttons that you could use. So those are all options. I pulled out, I've got a big stack of crayons. I think everybody can access those fairly easily. So post-it notes, it could be any type of design, or it could be just a plain colored like this, and that would do the job as well. These I know you can find at the dollar store if you're in Canada. It's some of those silicone mats, and you see me use that in mixed media a lot. This one I got, I believe, at a Dollar Tree in the States. And this here is from IKEA, but I got it in one of those packs from the thrift store. So those are all options for stamping, and we're going to be doing that later. And of course, security envelopes. You know, I love those. So let's get going. First of all, I'm going to make a few card blanks, and I'm going to make them with you guys so that you see how easy it is. And if we run out of time with this part and we don't get to use up all the supplies, well, we'll use them the following week. So let's get this started. So I get a lot of questions on how do I make my card base. This is, right now, I purchased a bunch of this stock of paper from a thrift store. They had bundles and bundles of it. I purchased them all because of the fact that it's a white base, and I thought it would be a nice, it's lightweight, but it'd be a nice base for card making. So what I do And that's one thing that you guys have to realize, is that sometimes you will have supplies that, this is my big one. I get a lot of comments about my small guillotine that I totally love, but this is the big one that I use for when I have bigger projects like this. So I remove that, and I remove, usually I remove this right away, but I'm thinking, just want to measure first of all my envelopes. So these are from recycled packs of cards that I purchased at the thrift store. So it's 6 by 4, so it would be 12. Yeah, 6 by 4, so it'd be, no, actually it'd be 8 by 6. And this is almost, so if I did 6, let's try that out. And then you just fold them in 2. Get this out of the way. And this would be perfect for this. So we've got, and you see how easy it is to make. And you could use all kinds of cardstock for this. You could use construction paper. You can use whatever you have on end. That's what I think is a good thing. And then if I cut this, use my smaller guillotine. I usually keep the tab because I like to send it in nappy mail, or I like to reuse it for index tab purposes, and I don't like to waste. So, and we're going to be making, these would be perfect, I believe, for the smaller size envelopes. Do I have some of those? Usually have. See, perfect. These are usually the little invitation cards. You know, the ones that you can purchase 8 invitations at the dollar store? Those little packs? Well, if you don't want the trouble of making your own envelopes, but you still want to have a card, that is a great way. And you could also use the card base so that you wouldn't even have to make your own card base. I had a pack of those that I could have shown you. See, stuff like this. I got these at the dollar store here. It's $1.25. It's a cute little card and it's blank inside. So I could recover that, and there's 8 of them for $1, so not a bad price. Okay, so we've got some cardstock ready, and we'll start with this and we'll see where that takes us, because I don't want to be spending too much time on making cards. You know the process of this, but I still wanted to share it with you guys because I know that not everybody has seen all the episode of my card making, and I get a lot of questions about what do I use for card base. So that is the first one. So I have this here. Let's try to use some of those. I like post-it notes. I use them all the time on all sorts of things. And so this could be pretty on here, except that it's a bit boring. But you know what? If I use, this is not a post-it note, this is a little paper pad. So So those little paper pads, cheap little paper pads. And I love to send snail mail and just little hellos. Everybody likes to get a little message sometimes. It's just kind of nice. At least I do anyway. So I really love getting mail. Okay, so here. And then if I put this on top here, I'm gonna cut it off there. So as you can see, this card like costs next to nothing to make, and it's homemade. Now the fun part, which I don't usually do, is I don't particularly like my handwriting, and I should have done that prior to putting it on here. But anyway, let's do it with a pencil first. So this way I can always erase. If I hope you guys can see, might be very light. And see, I started a bit too low. So that's a good part of doing this. Okay, so here we go. So I think that's cute. So because I think it's cute, I'm just going to use a black Sharpie, and these can also be found at the dollar store, but any black pen would work. So you might have Crayolas, you might have all kinds of different ones. Those would work fine as well. So here we go. Just dry this off and just erase my pencil. And if I want to be a bit fancier, you know me in doodling, so just trying to go with the design that's on the right hand side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I think that finishes it off really well. And so you see, it costs like next to nothing to make this card. So there's no reason. I mean, if you don't have that type of post-its, I'm sure there's memo pads. There's all kinds of stuff like that that's available. So that's the first card that we've made. Now, for the next one, let's use some security envelopes, because you know how much I love those, and I need to use up as much as possible. Very much looking forward to knowing what your thoughts about doing this with me. Okay, this is not gonna work. So let's just do it this way. Yeah, so very much looking forward to knowing what your thoughts about using stuff like this from around the house, what it's gonna be. Is it something that interests you? I think so. I think most of you guys have mentioned at one point or another that you like stuff that's inexpensive. Anyway, I do, because I find that often spend a lot of money, and it's good if we can save some. So there's a tiny bit of white there, but it doesn't matter. So this is going to be that. And of course I'm going to keep that piece. Now this is going to be a bit boring if I just leave it like that. So I'm thinking I can doodle around it, but maybe before I glue this thing down, I'll just try this out. So okay, so and then like this, like that. Okay, so now I've got the base. I'm just gonna go with my black Sharpie again. Something like this. So just erase my marks. And maybe try color this in. So you could use any type of coloring pencils or whatever you want. I just figured crayons are something that everybody has. Anyway, if you've had kids or you still have kids, it's probably something you have readily available. I know I had some all over that would offer crayons for the kids. I usually ended up bringing the crayons home, so ended up with a ton of crayons because of that. So that's an option if you're if you have some kids and you go to some restaurants that offer those, or if you go with people that have kids, maybe you can steal their crayons. So there's my flower. And I want to put a sentiment here somewhere. So maybe this could be a birthday card. So yeah. So that way, that aside. There's something about the smells of crayons that brings me back to when I was a kid. So this, okay, so we've got that, got this, and I was thinking of making a border around, and that would probably be enough. So if you don't have, I'm going with this because it's handy for me, but you could use just a regular glue stick and that would do the job just fine. Just saying. Okay, so here, and then let's. So this is something that you could do while watching TV. You could prepare designs ahead of time. And just doodle. Okay, so now that I have a base, just gonna go with my Sharpie and I'm gonna do the inside that I would usually do. And of course it bleeds through. Just to be expected, but it's okay. I should have used a regular black pen. That would have done the job just fine. Lesson to learn. Usually you try this out with the cardstock prior to actually putting the pen on it. But Okay, so that, and then just gonna go around the pencil mark to cover that one up. So obviously these cards take a little bit more time than just slapping on stuff. But they're cheap to make. And they are handmade. And if you make a couple of those ahead of time, well, you're ready for whenever something happens and you need a birthday card, or you need a thinking of you card, or whatever. Okay, so I like that. Just gonna erase my lines again. Make sure I don't have any more lines. And it made a little border from on the inside as well, but I think it's kind of cute actually. And you could put your text here and put just a regular big sentiment, and then put whatever you want to write on there. And I'm thinking that I'm missing some sort of border on the blue, so I'm just gonna go and do that. Squiggly lines, and I think that finishes it off. So we've got that card done as well. So we've got 2 cards done. Now I was thinking of using paper like this, and we could do, I think I'm going to stamp first. So I use my mat. You can use regular ink. One thing that I wanted to use, and I forgot to bring it, but I must have some other thing that I can use here, would have been to use any type of circles. So if you have a bottle of pills, that's a great way of using them. So we've got that. And then what we could do, go back with the crayons. Maybe just put a bit of color. One thing that I was thinking as well for an upcoming week would be to use some watercolor, because that would work. That would be amazing as well, I think. And you can get some very cheap watercolor, like Crayola and stuff as well. And just some yellow here and there. So just because I don't want necessarily the text to be seen. That's not the goal of this. Okay, so And you can just cut it off. And I'm actually going to put it this way. So, wrong way, but it's okay. I'm thinking if I did it Oops, sorry about the noise. Trying to figure out if I'm putting some sort of background, and I'm thinking that this could be cute, so let's check these out. So if you have books as well with images, that would work. So that could be something that we explore in another episode. I just want you guys to, you know, open up your eyes to different possibilities, because we tend to, that's the way it was supposed to be meant. We tend to see things in one way, but there's many different options that are available to us if we just are open to seeing them. So we're gonna be making two because I have the paper. I'm gonna keep this obviously, and then so we can make two of these, and they're gonna be different because obviously it's not the same, and obviously this paper is also gonna be not the same. So if I go here and so yeah. So when I use books to do some journals, well, I keep the inside, and that's what I do with the inside. Okay, so this here, like so. This. That. So like this, and just want to finish them off. So I had some left over. Where did it go? So I'm thinking this could be fun, and I'm going to be nervous. So I'm going to do a bonjour, and I'm going to do a merci type of card. This. And we're using all the little scraps from the envelope. And again, I'm going to just scribble around just so that I have some sort of order to this. And here we go. Here's a little piece that's from the envelope that's lifting up. Take care of that. And here we go. So we made 4 cards. They're all different, but all with stuff that you guys can find easily. So I'm looking forward to reading your comments and knowing what you think about this, and if I'm hoping that this is something you're gonna like, because this is what I'm gonna be making, I think, next week as well, with some of the leftover supplies that I have, as well as some other ideas that I'm coming up with as I'm talking to you guys. So that is it. Have a fabulous time with your family, and just if you're not with family, well, know that I'm sending lots of love on your way as well, and I'm hoping that all is good for you. Bye.